Material Components, Season 2, Episode 85, Empire Bound. Greetings and welcome to Material Components, the actual play RPG show all about a galaxy of magic and the adventurers who live there, brought to you by the Punch Up Entertainment Network. I am your humble Dragon Master, Mike Gargoni, and joining me, as always, are my stalwart adventurers. Hey, adventurers, thanks for being here.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yo.
Bonjour.
Hey, everybody. I'm Olivia, and I'm playing Florian of Akalar.
I'm Elliot, and I am playing Shay, the Elven Wizard.
Hello, I am Michael, and I'm playing Oswald, Octavian Theophilus III.
I'm Reed, and I'll be playing Amari.
Indeed. And of course, before we begin today's session, I have to ask the same question I ask every time, and that is, Michael Lisman, do you remember what happened last time?
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, I remember what happened last time. That's right.
Who's this?
I don't know. I don't know what voice this is.
Who is this person? Please introduce yourself.
Uh,
Sixth
default
character of our show.
Is this your
Six?
default when you like have to come up with something really quickly off the top of your head?
Yes, yeah, it breaks into that voice. Anyways, what happened last time is we got ambushed by a bunch of mercenaries. Ogreish mercenaries, weirdly enough, on God War. Strange.
Weird that the ogre homeworld would be inhabited by ogres, yes.
Yeah, very strange. We handily defeated them using various techniques that we learned from cartoons and old school slapstick style comedies. I believe at one point Shay's cursed hands shot off like a rocket and poked somebody in the eye twice. So
Yes.
that's how you know the shit was what got real. So
Stooge tactics
Yeah.
mean that shit's serious.
I see a lot of bad fight scenes in movies, and let me tell you, we really took the cake last time.
Well, but between the eye poking and the attempts at tripping using cans of 12 Loco, which then resulted in a impromptu hot foot. Yeah, I would say handling it is maybe not the best description of what happened.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it
but
was more like we
gotta,
handled it.
Oh yeah.
You gotta honorable mention to trying to trip someone with what is essentially a tree. Like, the whole fight from top to toe was just...
It worked.
Chef's kiss.
It worked. I think y'all said something about like whenever a fight breaks out, Amari suddenly becomes incredibly effective at
The
combat.
most important character, yes.
And then the rest of you are shooting hands, poking the same person in the eyes twice.
Yes.
Like a person was very much like a shadow on the wall at some point, and then walked
Yeah.
away like nothing happened
Mm-hmm.
because we're so ineffective.
Weird. So anyways, we made our daring escape, I guess. We found our way back on the ship, at the very least, with all of our companions in tow. Or companion, I guess, at this point. And instead of heading straight to Vanakel, we thought we'd do a little detour, see some sights, specifically on Varmstead. The site we're trying to see is, one Hector Loricus, one of the two people who's aware of what's going on with Project Chimera. So
We're trying to see him there, even though we are almost positive he is not there.
we're maybe 98% certain that he is not there, but still a chance, I guess.
Yes, indeed. You are following up on a lead you had garnered when a couple of you had started digging into Hector Loricus via both professional and social media stalking means. You know that he has a paper trail that indicates that he is dwelling upon the world of Varmstead, which is what is called an old hold. a planet that is incredibly important to the Midrian species and the Khanus Empire as it stands today. So Varmstead specifically is a central world of that monolithic culture which dominates the western reach of the Dragon's Wake galaxy. And you are headed straight there. Now, the Khanus Empire has sort of rested as not an antagonist necessarily to all of y'all's adventures thus far, but I should go on to state its relevant importance to our 4 characters, I think. Because lest we forget that Vanakel, the eventual location where you are all headed, is a world that is on the border of the Khanus Empire and has strong trade relations with it, but is importantly not specifically a part of the Empire. It is the Avia homeworld. It is also the birthplace of one Oswald Octavian Theophilus III, and the location where you will celebrate the birthday of a certain patriarch of his family.
Everyone's favorite.
The Khanus Empire is also the primary sponsor and beneficiary of the wizardly world of Wezrin Izald. That place where wizards from across the galaxy are shepherded, trained, and presented to society of the galaxy at large once their powers have been honed. A place where a certain wizard in your company trained for many years, though perhaps not to the extent with which they were expected.
Wonder who that was.
Could be anyone. The Khanus Empire was also the primary foe of the Dominion during the last great war which shook the galaxy. The Shattering, it was called. A war which Amari Kelrakasa fought within and became a hero of. Now, precisely how much animosity those within the Dominion felt towards the Empire varied greatly, from Minos itself having a centuries, if not millennia-long blood feud with their long-standing kindred from across the galaxy, to the hegemony to which Amari hailed, having a somewhat reluctant view on the conflict. And then there is Akalar, that world of worlds apart from all others, which, to the best of Florian's understanding, would have nearly no connection to the Khanus Empire, if not for the acknowledgement that that world rests on the border between the Eastern and Northern Reach, and is undoubtedly changed by the strange energies of the Fae. Now, the Fae, as we know, is deeply connected to the Khanus Empire. The Court of Air, specifically, is entrenched in an alliance that has stood for millennia with the largest government in the galaxy. Their spies and assassins and masters-at-arms have long stood as a bulwark of an information-gathering network in association with the Khanus Empire. Those deep ties are something you've been skirting up against in regards to Project Chimera and its association with Aegis Tech Solutions, a company which also has its roots in a noble house within the Empire. Now, exactly how deeply Aegis Tech, Project Chimera, and everything associated with it is tied to the Empire itself and the Empress who sits upon the throne therein, that is a murkier question that y'all have yet to answer. Aegis Tech Solutions seems to be kept at an arm's length from House Silvaro, one of the noble houses of the Empire, mostly for legal and monetary reasons. But the CEO of that company is married to the head of House Silvaro, so the distance being kept is done through tissue paper, not any kind of hard separation between the two powers.
It's a good thing this is fiction, and nothing like this could happen in real life.
Yeah, that was just weird
So
and wacky.
problematic. Yeah.
So you, the four of you, plus your Cogrish companion, fly now into the belly of that huge beast. The last great civilization of the Dragon's Wake galaxy. I say last great, less in the sense that it is an entity which does great things. It does do great things, great and terrible things, but great in the sense that it is one of the last organizations remaining which spans as large a space as it does. Even the Dominion, 5 years ago, before the end of the war, was a shrinking, brittle entity. Proven by that conflict. It shattered relatively easily. The bonds between those nations which made up the Dominion broken when conflict emerged. So now all that remains in terms of large galaxy-spanning entities is this empire, forged by Primus Khanus himself, the first Midrian Magus, those demigod-like beings which can channel aether in a tremendous fashion, outshining any wizard or mage which may have spent their lifetime training to do so. I need to underline how important a Magus is to the Khanus Empire before the four of you tread so lightly into that territory. A Magus is more than just a person. A Magus is a weapon. They were used to horrifying effect during the last Great War. Worlds were destroyed to such an extent that populations will never be sustained upon the surface of those planets ever again due to the damage dealt by these single individuals. Imperial propaganda would hold that these individuals, never more than 13 in number, are held in strict control by the mortals that sit upon the Khanus throne. The check and balance here being that while a Magus may live forever, kept alive via their power and etherics, the head of state of the Khanus Empire is no such god king. Mortals hold the leash that binds the Magus to service. These entities, these Magus Imperia, were mostly thought of as patron saints, figureheads. Long had their power been held in check, and it is only in the last conflict, the Shattering, that the galaxy saw them for what they were. The weapons of mass destruction that no one had dared use in thousands of years. So that knowledge weighs heavy upon any who deal now with the Khanus Empire. The fact that they have not continued their conquest of the galaxy leaves a strange, lingering weight on the rest of the galaxy. People wonder why, if such beings are at the control of the current Empress, if she is capable of such utter ruin that was wreaked upon the Minos Dominion, why not finish the job, as it were? Why not continue that conquest in an attempt to control the entirety of the galaxy and its resources? Nobody has the answer to that question. Nobody except for the woman who sits upon the throne of the Khanus Empire. And if anyone has asked her that question, none of you are aware of the answer. So you fly into the center of this base of power, the Old Holds. They are called such because they are considered some of the oldest civilizational cradles in the galaxy. The Midrian species draws their root to the Old Holds. Varmstead specifically is one of 2 planets within this system which had Midrian life begin there, at least as far as anyone can tell. The garden worlds of this system are some of the oldest, richest, and most influential planets in the galaxy. They have representatives in what is called the Senate Major, 2 of the large governmental bodies that make up the Empire. Because while the Empire does have a head of state, they are not so tyrannical as to have them be a complete and utter sovereign in the same way that the Dominion did. Most day-to-day activity in the Empire is governed by the Senates, Major and Minor. Senators from across the Empire gather on Imperia, a world that was renamed when the Empire was formed, but a world that is also considered one of the homeworlds of Midrian kind. Varmstead is unlike any planet any of you have maybe visited except for Oswald. The level of sophisticated civilizational buildup that has occurred on this world is to such an extent that there's very little natural left on Varmstead. This is a planet with a population of trillions. Coruscant is not far off from a touchstone here.
The whole planet's a city, Mike. The whole planet.
Not quite the whole planet. There are oceans and seas and stuff that you can see, and there are some mountains that are left bare. But as opposed to some other old holds, which have been manicured in such a way as to maintain some of their natural beauty, Varmstead is no such world. Industrialization here has created a system that can only exist via the artificial influx of resources from places across the Empire. And only a empire which spans nearly a quarter of the galaxy could sustain such a world. Food is not grown here. Food is brought here from across the galaxy.
Damn, I know this is on purpose, but the Rome parallels just... That's good. Interesting. Just keep that little thought in mind. Okay.
I'm sure this place is lovely.
Wait till you see the aqueducts.
Nope. Just don't want to.
Oh, okay.
The vomitoriums are especially good this time of year. Finding a way to land on this world is shockingly easy, considering it is such a seat of power. But the first thing that you have to contend with when you enter the system here, a system of two worlds that is called Minorheim, but consists of Varmstead and another old hold called Kaldskog. The first thing you have to contend with is the appreciation of the Imperial Navy at the center of its power, and the presence of an Imperial supercarrier within the system.
We should just go.
You are not immediately pinged by any naval presence, but you are immediately aware of the fact that this entire system is patrolled and controlled by some of the strongest ships the Imperial Navy has to offer. One of which is, yes, a supercarrier, a ship that can and has blotted out the sun on worlds. Calling it a ship is maybe a disservice, though it is constructed in such a way that its silhouette does inspire the idea of a vessel, a actual ship. It is long and curved in such a way that it almost looks like it could perhaps float if it could find an ocean big enough to land upon. Tens of thousands of Imperial Legionnaires man a ship such as that. In all likelihood, a magus sits upon the bridge of a ship such as that. Amari, you don't know if this particular supercarrier was present when Minos fell. You know only 9 were ever made, and only 4 are still in commission.
I was gonna ask, if we look on the scanners, does it ping with a specific name?
Normally, no, but the Tiresian would have scanners available that would maybe let you take a little bit of a closer look without getting caught. This ship is the Heraclean.
Cool.
Been through a lot this one.
Yes. There are legends of the tasks undertaken by the Heraclean.
God. I'm quitting the podcast.
Well, that's good because Lisman came up with another character earlier, so we have room for.
Did we talk about a ship being the Elysian ever? Okay,
I don't think so.
That then.
Also a good name though.
Yeah, that one's lost.
It's now a bed and breakfast. They don't use that one anymore.
Decommissioned. The largest bed and breakfast in the entire Dragon's Way.
Yep.
I believe the one that went missing actually is the Odyssean.
Oh, because I couldn't remember if that one had the Greek or the Roman name.
And of course, famously, the ship which sacked Minos is the Thesean.
Yeah.
That which brought low the Minotaur. So yeah, as you make your approach to Varmstead, all of this knowledge swirls within the minds of the crew of the Tiresian. You are not stopped by anyone as you make your approach to Varmstead. In fact, you are but a speck in the traffic which comes and goes from this world that is a hub of trade in this corner of the galaxy. With the knowledge you have about how to pilot in and out of such worlds, having made your way in the galaxy before, it is not difficult to find a berth which does not ask any questions in the city where you are holding. You know that the most likely false leads that you are following will lead you to a settlement called Needholg. It is on the northern continent of this world, and it is just one metropolis among many here on Varmstead. I would call it a coastal town, but that implies that there is any coast left instead of a sheer drop into the ocean from the sides of skyscrapers which quite literally scrape the sky. There are multiple mile-high structures in this place, and some of the bottom levels of this metropolis never see the light of day. It is a binary star system, so there are 2 suns in the sky, but you are orbiting far enough out that this place does see a night and day cycle. What is notable about this city, Needholg, as you approach, and something you would be aware of as you do your preliminary, okay, here's just the basic read-up of this city, is that it is effectively a college town. There is one of the larger Orcish monasteries in the Empire that is made the central hub of this particular city. Now, 2 things usually happen around Orcish monasteries. In smaller communities, they become kind of the go-to gathering place of small rural communities, someplace where kids can be taught basic education, somewhere where medical supplies and resources can be found, and where basic holdings of knowledge like libraries can be established. In larger communities, they usually become centers of etheric and God's tech study. God's Eye orcs who man such places will usually welcome heartily any who wish to help further expand the ideas of knowledge in regards to those subjects. And that is also true here. So presumably there is an abbot who runs that monastery, but that is also buried under the layers of bureaucracy that comes with operating within the Khanus Empire. The long and short of it is, yes, you are in an absurd amount of danger on this world, if anyone of note recognizes you for who you are. Because at the same time, this is such a populated place that it is incredibly easy to just get lost in the crowd here. You are one of, as I said, trillions. Within this city alone, there are millions of people, and it is very representative of every cross-section of the galaxy. While Midrians are most certainly the most populous species on this world, by no means do any of you stick out. Except for perhaps your Cogrish friend.
Yeah.
Finding a place to land isn't hard, but taking Vesnus with you would prove difficult if you wanted to walk around in public. I'm not saying there would be people on the street like immediately arresting her or anything, but it would definitely be
noticed.
a larger risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would definitely turn heads.
We don't need anyone turning their heads our way.
She understands this. She is totally accepting of the situation, is more than willing to stay on the ship, and has no intention of leaving while you are on an Imperial old hold.
Also fair.
Yeah.
Hey, me too.
If I didn't have to leave the ship, I wouldn't either.
Do we have to leave the ship?
I mean,
I guess that's up to you.
No one's saying that we can't just, cut and run. No shame in it.
What is the game plan here? So we are in an incredibly, well, we're not just going to kick down the doors of this estate that this person most certainly does not live in and just start poking around. So what is the plan?
I can certainly try to dig out either recent or long ago signs of presence on local servers, local metanet stuff. See if there's any other leads we can pick up, even if it's just about, character.
I mean, right, the easiest lies and the most convincing ones are ones that have some basis in truth, right? So hopefully there's some level of history or something here. Something that.
I think there's a lot of history here.
I think specifically
for
about Hector.
Loricus.
Yes. Sifting through grains of sand.
I mean,
As it stands, it's our only lead at all about him,
Yeah.
so...
do we have any historical information, like where he's from specifically, or what college? You said this is like a college town. Did he go to some sort of university here, on his own, or just Wezrin Azald?
Yeah, because as a quick refresher, what information you were able to glean from your searches around before is that
he's a
he's technically a wizard. He's like the lowest ranking wizard you could possibly be.
He has his honorary degree.
It's not even that. It's just that, in terms of what power he is able to use etherically.
It is not over 9,000.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about a 7.
If he was going to Xavier's School for Gifted Children, he is by no means Jean Grey. He is more like the character Forget-Me-Not, who was introduced in a one-shot, and his mutant power was, everyone forgets I was there the whole time.
What about the kid who changes channels with blinking?
Or that one, yeah.
Yeah. I remembered.
And not even Shay is Jean Grey.
Right. But, that being said, what little you were able to pick up on via your metanet searches and just asking around that you did before, he was originally from this world. He grew up here to a lesser extent, though he was pretty quickly shipped off to Wezrin Azald when it was identified that he was a wizard. After he got his powers in line, he then returned to this place and has a college degree from the University of Needholk, which is part of the Orcish monastery here.
Yeah.
Okay.
What little you were able to dig up on his socials, how much of it is, just the bare bones stuff you'd be able to figure out is that he at least has some family on this world still. How much of that is invented and how much of that is true, you're not 100% on that.
I mean, does he have an Instagram story or anything? We can figure out where he last had a really cool hike at, just so we can Instagram stalk him just a little bit.
Mike, correct
what
me
little
if
you'd be
I'm-
able to figure out is that he has an apartment here in the city.
Nailed him.
Ooh.
Go on.
I was gonna say, sorry, my connection is very spotty right now. I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Shay found his like Sprite account.
Yes. Which that of all that you were able to track down seems like some of the most doctored.
Yeah.
It indicates that he lives a pretty sedate life as a researcher working for Aegis Tech Solutions, which does have a corporate enclave here in this city.
Oh, that's where we should go.
Hey, yeah, guys, want to break into another Aegis Tech facility? Oh no.
I can get everybody more guns. Yay!
And
Oh,
we're,
I could run over somebody.
I was just about to say,
And we're gonna
more
be-
manslaughter, more manslaughter.
Yay.
we're going to be very careful, right? We're not going to get in any trouble. I cannot emphasize enough how much we need to be able to leave here of our own volition in a timely manner.
You like the camera pans slightly to the left, and like Amari is slowly like cutting a hole in the glass of a car and getting ready to break in. No, we're not stealing. Okay, sorry, old habits. No,
Vesnus looks between Oswald and a grenade, back to Oswald, slowly lowers the grenade out of frame.
Thank you.
You're not going to leave the ship. What are you going to do with the grenade?
There are big old doors. Plenty of throwing space.
it's her comfort grenade. You know, it's like her fidget spinner.
It's shocking what you can get through Imperial mail.
Oh my god.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. At least not yet.
Yeah, I think low
Um,
profile is best, and we will see how well that plan works.
And what is
Best intentions.
our version of low profile? Disguises, perhaps, or fake identities that worked so well last time.
That did actually work very well last time.
Could be time for the return of Javier Caliente, I believe.
Maybe not the same identities.
Oh,
since
yes, probably not.
Those were blown in spectacular fashion.
Hmm.
I say we
I
try
mean-
to check out this apartment first.
Yeah. And then maybe check in on, see if he's still got some kin around. They might at least be able to get a hold of him. Or know vaguely where he's at. I'm sure it's pretty locked down, but
Also, why would they talk to us?
that's where the disguises come in, I guess.
Right.
I mean, Oswald, you.
Yes.
I mean, I helped you set up that blog and everything. Like, right, you're doing your whole uncovering stuff. Maybe you can pretend to be a journalist or something.
Well, I mean,
Pretend to be a journalist.
I think you mean be a journalist. But the question
Exactly.
is what to be The question is what to be investigating. Now, we could look into perhaps the monastery that he went to school at. We've had some dealings with some god's tech, although we don't have much of anything on hand. Perhaps that is an avenue we could go with. Perhaps, I don't fully see how we would get any of his kin to talk to us unless we pretended to be representatives of Aegis Tech, which of course could be.
We don't know how withholding his folks are. I mean, again, we don't even know if they exist or are alive. So I feel like we cross that bridge when we come to it.
Perhaps, well, we have, I suppose we have a couple of, so all of the options we have available are potential family, the apartment, Aegis Tech itself here on the planet, and the Orcish University. Is there any other options we could look into?
No.
No,
Not that we
those are the
know
main-
of.
And also,
those are the main
and
four.
also, I'm gonna say that maybe we don't try to interact with the Aegis Tech facility.
Fine by me, yes. We can no longer argue that because we've done the dumbest decision possible before, and it somehow worked out, they're going to start expecting us to do the dumbest thing possible.
Yeah.
It only
and
works
also,
a few times.
And also, like, we know we have, like, hegemony protection, but the good thing about the Storm's Repose is that, and yeah, Amari, I can see, yeah, I know, I should have put air quotes around the word protection.
Not here, we don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Yes, that was what my point was coming to, is A, we are deep in Empire space, and also the great thing about the Storm being on the Storm's Repose and this whole Egastec thing was, they were pretty close by for us to swoop in and be like, oh, we work for the Cool Foundation, you can't touch us, technically.
Yes.
We do not have any of that right now.
No.
So, like, Mike, it would take us like 3 to 4 turn spans or something to get back to the moon base.
Yeah, assuming you didn't try to, like, go off the beaten path. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Just like, yeah, I just would... Unless, for some reason, it becomes absolutely necessary, let's steer clear of the Egastec facility.
Right. Well, if I were Hector Lyricus and I were, for some reason, on this planet, it would make sense that that's where I would be.
But we know that he ain't on this planet. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
like-
like pretty damn sure he ain't on this planet.
Right. So then the goal is to find all of the false flags and hope they slipped up somewhere? Is that...
Potentially. Or
Again,
see
we
if-
can just go
Yeah.
if that seems like it's not gonna work.
I mean...
Before we interact with any of his potential family at all, wouldn't it make sense to potentially corroborate some of that information by going to the records at the university?
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's probably the easiest thing to get into. So maybe start there.
not to mention we have, I don't know, maybe an inn there. I don't know how well I could trade on Brother Hune's name, but he has shown up in less
That's true.
sensical places.
It's worth a shot.
Maybe that's the thing, though, is that, like, of course he's not going to be at the monastery, because that would make sense.
He's only there to help when you don't need him to.
Oh, I see.
Well, you do need him, but you just don't realize you need him until he...
Right.
See,
Right,
that
yeah.
does sound like
He
some
was the
sort of
one who
religious
carried you.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
The other set of footprints is
Yes.
Brother Hume.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is known.
Hard to miss.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we start there, then.
Okay, so you want to head to the University of Armstead?
Yes.
Okay. It is not hard to find. Like I said, this is pretty much a college town. Needholg is all trade here, centers itself on the college. Calling it a monastery at that point is a little ridiculous. Monastery definitely kind of conjures this image of a temple somewhere up on a mountaintop that is isolated from the rest of its surroundings, or at the very least something that keeps itself separate from civilization in some way.
Cloistered, if you will.
This is cloistered, if you will. This is not that. It is a large, ornate building that is hundreds of stories tall in the center of this city, that has many smaller orbital buildings around it. When I say orbital, I mean literally there are small floating buildings which orbit the larger central piece
Nice.
that are not connected to the ground. Obviously, etherics are involved. I don't know how much any of you are familiar with Imperial architecture at this point. I think the only person who would probably have been within proximity to it would have been Shay. There is a lot of aethite involved in the sweeping architecture of these buildings. It is a lot of Greco-Roman pillars with like buttressed tops. There is a lot of marble and ivory involved. White and silver and red are the predominant colors that you see displayed here. The colors of House Khanus are everywhere. This is one of the worlds that originally started the Empire, and before that, the Midrians, which made up the government which preceded the Empire, formed the Empire. So, like, a lot of the older houses are on display here, and their colors can be seen everywhere. The college itself is, like I said, this large central pillar of a building. Imagine a fusion of kind of Greek and Roman architecture with the more Persian influenced of like minarets at the top that is more associated with Orcish architecture. You've got less like strong defined lines and more of this kind of like sweeping curve up to the top to a more bulbous top, which comes to a, like I said, a minaret. So it stands out in a city that otherwise has a little bit more of a kind of prolific, sturdy, up and down architecture to it. The buildings that circle it are all lined with these huge aethite crystals, which occasionally will flare with different colors of light, mostly with blues and purples, and occasionally a green here and there. And they're the sorts of gemstones you probably have only ever seen the size of on spaceships, but they're just part of the building here to keep it afloat. Occasionally you'll see one of these like orbital buildings slowly creep towards the central building, and a lattice work of connective tunnels will emerge, connect the two buildings for a little while, and then slowly come apart as that building will float away. And that seems to be on some kind of rotating schedule, so as you watch it, it becomes pretty clear that a lot of the timekeeping in the city in terms of traffic flow is totally dependent on the movement of those orbital buildings.
Oh man, that sucks when your lecture gets out like 5 minutes late. You're like, fuck.
And there are also small, like, personal craft moving to and from, so it's clear that, like, maybe the richer people could afford to, like, drive their own car to class, as it were. Structures like this are not uncommon in Wezron Azald, and in fact, on that world, things get a lot zanier in terms of improbable architecture. When you have thousands of years for wizards to do whatever they want to make buildings, things get silly. There is an independent building for visitors to initially enter the college, and it is more firmly attached to the main college building near its central kind of spot. Not too close to the bottom, nowhere near the top. And you could get a private transport from your docking bay to that position. Kind of the visitor intake building of the college. Moving into that building, you're immediately struck by the difference between the outside and the inside. The outside is this huge bustle of artificial metropolis, and as soon as you're inside, there is an attempt to create the appearance of a courtyard that is outdoors inside of this building. So you're walking through a grove of trees the moment you are walking towards the admissions and like visitor hall of this building that is inside a larger floating building.
Wow, I love this.
Whoa.
And something that I think Amari and Oswald would be immediately struck by. I don't know if the other two of you made note of this back on your moon base on Aoka, but there are drossel trees planted here.
Oh, okay.
The birch-looking Godstech trees that you found a grove of near your moon base. Here they are more like ordered and clearly like planted with purpose, but the fact that they're just like, oh, you can cultivate these things.
Neat.
And yeah, you can proceed into the like visitors intake hall that is here. You see tons of people moving to and from, people with business with the college, plenty of orcs, Midrians. You see more than a few elf, avia of all description. Leon and Taro definitely like rarer, more uncommon in this part of the galaxy. So a couple of heads might turn, especially at the presence of a Taro here, but no one's like pointing, going outsider or anything like that.
We're transfer students. It's fine.
Yeah, especially in like this more like melting pot college situation. Like there's way less if you were walking into a military base, there might be some hackles being raised, but here people are just like, going about their business.
Must be a diversity initiative by the university.
Yeah, so you head in. There is clearly like an intake place and like a big front desk where like lots of people can queue up and be directed towards wherever they need to in the college. So what are y'all doing?
All right.
The thing that's gonna suck is if they ask for identification and that we have nothing. So
We don't have identification.
I'm
You don't carry identification, Amari?
I do
I
for
don't.
myself.
Right. Oh,
Not
you.
supposed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well. Oh, what were we even doing here? That's the question. What's the play here? Perhaps one of us is hoping to go to school, or perhaps we wish to meet with Brother Hune if he were present, or perhaps we are researchers from a different college. These are all possibilities.
We're private investigators looking for Hector Laricus.
Because he owes our employer money.
Money, yeah. Oh, or he was sleeping with the guy's wife, and we're trying to track him down
Right.
for... Nope, that's bad. They probably will not be. If we say we're going to try to kill him, they probably won't tell us where he is. The
Yeah,
money
but,
thing,
like-
that's better.
What's the easiest way to catch people is to offer money, right? Is
Right.
to say you've won like a bunch of stuff. So
Oh
like,
my
hey,
god,
We're actually
he's won.
from-
Yeah.
He's won a cruise.
Yeah.
Right. There's a large amount of money waiting for.
bed and breakfast. Expense paid trip.
Well, a lottery ticket was filled out under his name, and therefore we are looking for him because he needs to come to Imperia in order to pick up those funds, right? You're all
I think it's
looking
gotta
at
be.
me.
I think it's gotta be something like more official, cause like he owes money or something. Because it has to be important that we get this information. You know,
Right.
not just like spam mail.
I mean, if
His
you knew more
uncle
about his
is a
family-
king.
Yeah, like,
And
Uh-huh.
he needs money to get off of the planet that he's incarcerated on, but he promises he will return the money tenfold once he's off. Yeah,
Mhm.
like that sort of
Yeah.
thing. They're
Yes.
gonna say like, okay, go away.
Wow, delivering phishing scams in person. That's a new one.
That's how you get them. Throws
well,
them
then
off.
Back to that.
Exactly. So we're just saying that he owes somebody that we work for money, and we're just looking to collect.
Or we're just trying to find him, and we could also just say, hey, we're trying to find this guy, and make it all mysterious and official sounding without actually giving a story that we then have to maybe corroborate later.
That's why I was thinking maybe go with something vague, like he owes our employer money or
That's
something
great.
like that.
Like,
Yes. Okay, let's do that. All right. Hands in. Let's do this thing.
In the middle of this like quad or whatever, we're all
Yeah,
just
Now,
not doing that.
to be clear, you know that he graduated from this place, not that he works here.
no,
Yeah.
I know,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
we're looking for contact information.
exactly.
All right. Okay,
This is a university, which
good.
means he is on some alumni list so that they can try to get money out of him.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just
That's a fair point.
walking up to the information desk and saying, we're looking for a former student. He owes somebody money.
Yeah.
Listen, we're not good at, as I asked before this episode started, are we dumb? We know the answer. The answer is yes.
Okay, so
Mhm,
when we
mhm.
go up to the information things, we're going to act like we already know where, like, who we need to talk to. We just need the directions to the records department, you know?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm writing a paper about Hector Loricus, prominent whatever
He's not,
engineer
though.
Aegis Tech Solution. They don't fucking know that.
Who's taking point on this?
It's
Such
got to
a
be
good
Oswald,
question.
right?
I think so.
It's got to be Oswald.
Yeah, it feels
Everybody got their
natural
shoes
that
tied.
it's-
We're
yeah.
all ready to run.
Okay, no, we can't
Yes.
run. We can't have Oswald ask this question and then all of us just run out of the building.
Probably.
He did it last time.
We know. We all know. We all know.
Do we? I'm not convinced.
It worked
Um,
so well last time.
We just need directions to the records department.
Mhm.
All
That's
right.
all we need.
Great. Go up to the desk.
Yes.
Mike, do you want to fast forward?
Proceed.
Okay. Hello. My name is Oswald Octavian Theophilus.
Christ, here we go.
Was hoping to get directions to student records.
And you are given directions to the student records office.
All right,
Correct.
everybody said his full name. We have about an hour and a half. Let's get in and get out.
Eventually, you find your way, with the help of some very friendly stewards, to the student records office. It is basically another wing of this building that you eventually find yourself in. And you are struck by just how busy this place is. It's not like you're in an out-of-the-way chunk of the college. There are people coming and going, and there are students coming and going from here, updating their records and like making sure what they have on file is up to date, and like change of addresses and all that bullshit you got to deal with in college whenever you got to prove that you actually exist as a student at that college so that you can get credit for what you've been doing there for years, even though they say that you haven't been there for the last couple of semesters.
It's a good thing this is a fictional show.
Personally,
And nothing like this ever actually happens to anyone on the call.
Nope.
Yep.
Never.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. It's spelled Michael. Anyway.
You want to talk about it? No. It's a podcast timeout. Let's go over this.
And what's there
Yeah,
to
we're
talk
recording
about? We're
separate
all
tracks. We can
familiar
edit
with
this out.
Yeah.
Now, getting some information about a specific student who none of you are, nor are you related to, is going to require a roll.
Yes. I have. Shay, come here. I have an
Yes, I'm standing right. Yeah, right here.
idea. Okay. And Oswald's like looking around, like trying to be casual. All right. I'm going to distract them, right? I'll pretend like I'm trying to go to school here. During this time, you get into their records and try and find out the information you're looking for, right? Because they're not just going to hand it over. What do you
I'm literally already hacking the computer.
Great. Okay. So I'll get to it.
Okay, so it sounds like Shay is taking point on this roll,
Yes.
and that it is going to be some kind of hacking roll to abscond with this information illicitly.
Yes.
Illicitly.
Meanwhile, Oswald is aiding with some kind of distraction of some kind.
Mhm.
I will leave it to you to figure out what talent that is that you're using to distract.
Don't know if I have useless bloviating yet, but
Why not?
I mean, I have
You
20
do-
experience points I can put into
Yeah.
something.
I feel like you do, but just not officially as a.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. It's not on paper yet.
I guess bold-faced lie. I'm pretending like I'm interested in going to school
Yeah,
here.
that
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Amari, Florian, do you have any talents you want to toss into this to help
I have
out?
some influence that I'd love to toss your way, Oswald.
Sure.
I'll throw you a d6.
Well, we're all throwing it to Shay.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you
so
could
it's-
only assist with the talent
Oh, I guess that's true.
part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
So-
So unless
Aether
anyone's
tech,
giving
then?
me, the advanced tech.
I can. I have D6 in that.
Okay.
On which thing again? Talent?
Advanced tech.
Advanced tech.
Advanced
I just not sure how that would work though, since I'm just sort of like standing at the counter with my hand on my like chin in my hand, like thinking real hard about the computer.
Mm.
Question. Is advanced tech what Aether tech used to be called?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the old the
Mhm.
first iteration. Got it. Okay.
Should really use the updated character sheets because they're very nice.
I should.
I should too.
Instead of this lined paper that I've been using since the beginning of the campaign.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not like we were all in the same room recently and I had a bunch of copies of it printed out or anything.
It's too easy, Mike. It sounds like
Yeah,
Michael-
too
crap.
easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like
Lisman
it's
was
bad.
so
Clearly, I was trying to deceive you in
fucking
some fashion.
high.
Yeah, we still won monikers. Go team. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, so I
anyways.
guess that's my question: is like, can they assist me on wizard hacking stuff though?
I
Not
feel
to
like
be like
They
like fun police.
sure,
or
sure,
whatever,
sure.
Mhm. Yeah, we want to make it work in the rules.
Yeah, their die are less about the actual helping of hacking and more about creating a opportunity for you to do this surreptitiously.
Mhm.
but gotcha. That totally makes sense. Okie dokie. So that
So that's
gives me
Why I think that this passes mustard.
okay. Passes the smell test. Okay,
Yeah.
so that is a 1d6 for advanced tech, a d10 for hacker voice. I'm in. A d6 for carefully, which is the tactic I'm going to be using, and a d6 from Listman and one from Reed. What are we looking at in terms of difficulty here?
Well, this is a pretty prestigious college. Ain't no community college you're trying to break into here.
Do that in my
It
sleep.
is on a central imperial world. There's a lot going on here that would probably stop redcaps like yourself from breaking into a place like this.
Mm.
So I'm going to say it'd be pretty incredible if you could manage this on the DL in the space where you are trying to break into. So 25 is the number we're looking for here.
5.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to use 2 of my own Aether as well. Bloop, bloop. All right. That's all right. 10, 16, 22, 24, 26.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay. I will say, this is one of those rolls where the higher you roll, the more information you might get. 26 will get you some good leads, but if the temptation is there...
Mm.
as
Are
in
we
peop-
at the start of a new mission?
We are 100% at the start of the new mission. The danger gauge has reset. We are back down to 1. And I currently have no void dice.
Currently.
The level of safety.
What could go
that comes
wrong?
with that.
Why would you say
Spending a-
that?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I am spending a void dice. A void die. Sorry. Okay, so I got 26,
Mm.
33.
33. So that is 30 is like a benchmark. 35
That's
is
true.
also the next benchmark.
I know. And if I roll another void die and get to 35, that's a critical, and I can just bump that danger gauge right back down to
That's
1.
also critical. That's a critical.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Take the university out. Take it out.
Take the university out of the scene.
Take that, education.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Take the degree and shove it.
I'm gonna do that.
Oh, it's so
It's a
good.
new
Hooray.
mission. So many
Yes.
possibilities.
Power
It's
of
good.
temptation.
It's good. It's good.
Danger gauge is a
And-
3.
Booyah.
Oh yeah, pop it down back down to 2. 36. So yes, pop that back down to 2.
Or you could regain some Aether if you wanted to. Just as a reminder, we've changed the rules on that slightly so that when you choose to regain Aether, instead of just regaining 1, you roll a d6 and gain that many back.
That's true.
That is nice.
Or you could
Nah,
pop
I'm a
down the
wizard.
danger gauge. That's fine too. I'm not trying to pressure you.
I'm a wizard. It's
Okay,
fine.
okay. Danger gauge going back down to 2. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. With the crit, yeah, you would get some good information here. Namely that he has an address listed that is in the city. It is not the one that you had recovered online.
Shocker.
It is an apartment that is located pretty close to the university, but definitely like off campus.
Okay, but we are going to go there, and it is going to be filled to the brim with please send us money letters. Like,
Oh, yeah.
With the crit, you would actually be aware of the fact that he regularly donates to the college. Like there's like a stipend off of his yearly income that goes straight to the college.
The only person ever
You don't
to
know
do
if that's
that.
yeah, you don't know if that's like part of like him paying back his college tuition, or if it's like that shouldn't have been the case because he's a wizard. Usually, like wizards get sponsored by somebody for their education. But yeah, he seems to have some kind of like regular donation to the college itself. It's not a huge amount or anything, but it's notable of just like, huh, that's weird that a person would do that.
It's not where my money would go.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
You would also, with the crit, be able to dig up some like old student information on him. So like personal call set, that at least the one he had listed while in college, which normally that doesn't really change for people because it's kind of in tune with your etheric signature. You would also have access to his grades and like his like what courses he took while in college.
Yes.
oh my god, what are Hector Larykis' grades?
Phenomenally good in some places and phenomenally bad in others.
Oh, man after my own heart.
I was just about to say, that's really relatable. Just like A's and F's.
Yeah.
D's get degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently he was incredibly adept at any courses involving ethereophysics and like metanet studies. He was also an incredibly capable etheric engineer. Anything that involved talking to other people, though, he was astoundingly bad at. There are like certain like courses he needed to take to like fulfill his degree requirements in like English credits of one stripe or another, or like things that like debate is something that's like highly encouraged within imperial culture, and that's like a standard like oration, and like being able to argue one's case is something that is highly valued in their culture, and that is a course line that he was just like constantly barely scraping by at. Apparently he was also really bad in like practical etheric fields, Like, theoretical stuff he always aced pretty easily, but anything that involved, like, personal etheric power as, like, a basis for success, he always would barely scrape by in.
Right. Bad wizard.
But even if he's, like, being a bad wizard just means, like, you can't affect aether that's super far away from your body. Like, maybe his etheric field is only, like, an inch away from his body, and that would be, like, a super low-class wizard.
Gotcha.
The classes of wizard really are differentiated by, like, how far away can you affect aether from your own person.
Okay.
Yeah. Not everyone can be a triple threat like me. Smart, sexy, and cool.
He seems to be none of those,
Yeah.
based on the records you're reading. Smart in certain circumstances, for sure, but with the crit, you would also have, like, certain, like, personal notations from teachers that he had, and there's a clear paper trail here about how he got recruited by Aegis Tech.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, apparently he was recruited, like, right out of college. And specifically, he was flagged for, like, a very specific research paper, which is how he got his doctorate, that goes into theoretical influences of the Fae in metanet culture and practices.
Okay, that tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, with that crit, you would have access to that paper if you wanted it.
Yeah,
Though,
I'll read it.
notably, like, that is not something you would have found online, and you would assume it would have been published if that's how he, like, earned his degree.
Right.
So not finding it online, but only finding it here is notable. And yeah, that is what you find.
Interesting. So I'm, like, relaying all that to everyone as we're leaving after Oswald has been given all the application paperwork and suggestions on course studies and the pamphlet.
Yes. And what about
What's the
clubs?
housing situation like?
Yeah, the housing situation.
There is on-campus housing. There are, like, a couple of the floating buildings around the central building are just apartments as, like, campus housing.
Yeah.
And then there's also off-campus apartments, which apparently, one of which is actively being rented by, or at least was the last known, like, domicile of Hector Loricus. Very affordable. You would be able to stay here if you wanted, Oswald.
Yeah, well. I guess that's it for me then. Everybody have fun with the campaign. I just going to study here now. I'm just kidding.
Oswald's going back to school.
No,
Why,
no.
why would you call it a
No
campaign?
respect.
I mean, it sort of makes sense terminology-wise, but...
Now I have to come up with an angry Dean NPC that shakes his fist and goes,
Oswald!
Oswald!
Is it an angry dean, or is it just Jim Rash from Community?
Ooh.
It can be both.
When do we find out we've been on double secret probation the entire time?
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay.
Okay, so what do you do with that information?
Do we scope out the address?
How far apart in the city are the two apartments that we have addresses for?
The fake one you found is in, like, a ritzier part of town near the coastline, and the presumably real one you found is pretty close to the college. I would say they're both within easy striking distance of where you are. Probably the difference of, like, a 10-minute transport ride to a 30-minute transport drive.
Okay. Yeah, do we want to hit the one that's further away and grab the other one on our way back, or?
I mean, I feel like we should probably hit the hidden one first, the one that's closest to the school.
college.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we just, like, getting in a building opposite of this one with binoculars and just...
I
What
mean,
do we do?
if there's not like if you don't need to be buzzed in, we can just walk in and go to the door and knock on it.
Right. I'll pretend to be a prospective
Oh my
tenant
god.
of the building.
No, let him have this. He likes it.
He's
Okay,
working on his,
then
He's
his
just
acting career.
He's
okay?
we're about. Florian will lean down and whisper into Shay's ear, like he's about to go and through a really stressful time. I think this is comforting.
Yeah,
I'll
maybe he
just-
can use this.
Fine, I'll just go up to the door then while he's doing whatever.
Oswald's happy place is pretending to be an undergrad.
I think Oswald's happy place is pretending
Is
to be somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, Reed's hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Poor guy.
But yeah, obviously introduce myself as Roberto.
Fuerte.
Fuerte.
Christ.
Oh. Mhm. Good.
Roberto Fuerte, of course.
Okay, so you head to the address that you found in the college records.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a tall apartment building that is built like a honeycomb hive. There is a large ring-like structure that you can kind of move up and down the center of via hovering transports, and they will dock at different levels to let you out, and you can kind of walk around the perimeter of them to the different apartments. And there's other transports, personal and otherwise, like going in and out of this large cylinder. He is, or at least the address you were given, is located near the bottom. So as you're descending, you're getting farther and farther away from daylight, and to the point where there is artificial light that has to be on to let people see down at these lower levels.
I would assume the higher up it is, the like more expensive. Something like that would be. Is daylight
Just on a-
like?
Quick
a luxury.
approximation would let you know that, like, the pricing is probably based on proximity to the exterior of the building, because if you're on the exterior of the building, you're actually getting daylight, and if you're on the interior of the building, you're not getting any of that unless you're near the very, very top.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you find a apartment listing that is near the very bottom and on the interior, you know that this place is dirt cheap.
Oh, hey.
This is like off-campus student
That's an
housing,
apartment I
basically.
almost lived in.
Yeah.
You're not quite at ground level, but you can see it from here.
Oh wow, it's gross, even from this distance.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash down there.
Yeah.
Pizza boxes and empty Chinese food cartons.
Now,
And...
hold on, I see 4 turtles eating those pizzas and a rat.
Nah, you just see one hobgoblin stuffing his face with popcorn, looking over his shoulder, and then scurrying into the darkness.
That's unusual. Those were supposed to be extinct.
Yeah, who is that?
Ooh, it's gross, whatever it is. I don't like it.
It's very pale, and its eyes shine in the light when it looks up at you.
It's a possum.
It's just a. It's not a hobgoblin.
Just a
it's
possum. It's just a very large possum.
And a big cardboard sword attached to his back.
The students have named it Grawl affectionately.
Yeah.
Sounds like some sort of growth that would appear on one's. I don't know.
It's benign though. He means no harm.
Right,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
yes.
We'll have to wait a season or two before it gets lanced.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you find the apartment listed there. There's no like reception area to check in at this place. It's just an apartment building that you like have an address for.
Sorry, they call it Grawl of No Passel,
Should we?
which is what a group of possums is called. Yeah,
Good.
That's really
Excellent.
important.
it's
It
super
was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We do art
Yeah.
here.
This is world building,
Technical
okay?
components.
It's world building.
Okay, also, like, cancel all of what we're doing. We're doing, like, a weird little, like, college campaign now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, I think we just
Oh,
go
you
up.
Get to the door of this place, yeah.
Yeah, just, quick little knock, knock, knock.
Oh, we're knocking.
No answer.
Alright.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Is the door is etherically powered?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna risk it. Break in.
Okay. How do?
Like etherically, like unlock it etherically.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, give me some kind of, sounds like advanced tech, I would say, or maybe covert ops, engineering. There are plenty of ways to get at this, I think. The old tabletop RPG classic of open a locked door. Let's see this
True.
take 2 hours.
Oh boy.
No.
We are in
I
for
defy the
a
stereotype.
slog. Behind this door, a second door.
Ah!
Blah.
We must go deeper. It's doors within doors.
I'm assuming that most of the aether around here, I can feel around here, is indoors and lights.
Doors, lights, yeah, you'd be able to sense some like minor security systems, like the kind of thing where you'd have like a camera every so often in the hallways for probably insurance reasons, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But it's not like there's a camera right over the door watching you or anything.
Right. I'll pull like 2 aether.
Would you like assistance with that?
Oh yeah. I'll pull 1 aether then and get some assistance.
Okay. I'd say the lock on this door isn't super complex. You don't think the security here is that bad. I'm going to call this challenging at best.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna hacker voice. So I've got a D10, a D6, a D6 for forcefully, and then from Oswald.
Sure. So 15 is what we're looking for here.
3, 6, 9, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, easy. You futz with the aether without even touching the door and it opens.
Oh.
Oh,
Look down the
weird.
hallway.
The door just flew open. How strange.
Oh, well, perfect. We can deliver this food now more effectively.
Now we're door dashers.
Next.
Yeah. Florian and Amari are just looking at each other.
Yeah, like, oh god.
No one's here.
Yeah.
And there are like people around. You're closer to the inner rim of this place, so like you can see out into the center of the cylinder, and there are transports moving around, and there are people out in the catwalk moving between between domiciles, but like no one's on top of you,
Right.
and no
Much-
one's giving you a
Yeah.
second
Like-
glance, especially as the door just
Like-
opens for you.
Yeah, I don't say anything. Let's just go in.
All we need is confidence. We
Yeah.
are supposed to be here.
And again, I'm a triple threat, so I have it in spades.
Right.
I'm inside the apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, let's look around.
This place doesn't have any windows, so it is pretty dimly lit in here. It's just overhead lights. Pretty sterile. It's basically a studio apartment. It's like one big room with just like a bathroom off to one side. Small little kitchenette right as you come inside to your right. There is an open space. There's a desk off against the far wall that seems to double as like a media
I
center.
meant my earlier
stand.
statement. This is actually a better apartment than the one I almost lived in.
Yeah.
Mm.
And a low, small bed just to the left of the desk. And like that's the whole space. There's, as you all come in here, it's pretty crowded with 4 people in here.
First things first, look for listening or recording devices. Okay.
Basic etheric senses, Shay, would let you know that there doesn't appear to be anything untoward about the aether moving in this place.
Okay.
You see that there is a computer on the desk in front of you to the right that hums with like low standby power etherics, but other than that, there's nothing in here that would suggest that there are any obvious bugs.
Does this place?
And the computer is connected to the meta net? Is that
You would assume.
Does this place look like not lived in? Because obviously we don't. I'm assuming it seems like it's been a long time since someone has been here, but does it look like a place that someone like maybe returns to every so often, or is it like this is just another like false flag place that was set up to like I don't know, are there any personal effects? Is there any sort of like...
Any food?
Oh yeah,
This
absolutely.
sounds like some kind of
I'm
perception check to me, some kind of investigation roll. If
yeah.
Florian wants to spearhead this, or if Oswald does.
I have a D8 in investigation.
Then you should spearhead this.
Okay.
Florian will merely
So
merely
perception.
say out, like, look around and be like, I wonder if this is a place that looks like it has been lived in. I'll like help you look, but
I could
like-
yeah.
That's perception, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can give you a
I'll
D8
throw you a
as
D6
well.
in that as well.
Or a D6, sorry.
Six.
Wish I had a D8.
Okay. Florian, are you throwing anything? No.
I have nothing,
Okay.
sorry. I only have like
No, that's
2
okay.
skills. And one is big ass
Well,
knife.
You had
You've
to.
gotten this far on brute force throwing aether
Yup.
based
Yes.
things.
Yes. Yes.
It's honestly
Game
impressive.
testing!
It's worked out great, except for that weird
Well,
symbiotic creature that is draining the aether from
Well,
your body because you
yeah.
have so much of it.
And that's not even
not
like
fair.
that's because I picked a whole like that's a whole separate issue that has nothing to do with
That was a
the-
character choice.
It's really not a
it's
separate issue. It's all sort of working together into
Yeah.
a gumbo of deliciousness.
Oh, ooh, that sounds good.
Ah,
I
yeah,
think
cool.
Void
Either-
combo.
careful would make sense.
Totally.
Obviously, I would love for clever to work because that's my highest, but I think careful makes more sense.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, so let's
Also,
go
you
with
get
that.
XP if you succeed.
That's true. That's true.
Don't
what,
even need to succeed, just need to roll.
what number am I looking for?
Oh, yeah, it's true.
This is one of those rolls where you'll get more information the higher you roll.
Okay.
The baseline here is going to be easy. So, like, just roll a 10 and you'll succeed at learning some baseline stuff. But
Okay.
the higher you roll, the more you will learn.
Okay, I'm going to use 2 Aether and just really get a good look at this room.
Don't want to go all in and just see beyond the veil of time.
I've seen everything that's ever happened in this.
Oh
I
god.
don't know. Sorry, I dropped one of my.
Oswald can suddenly see in spectrums of light that other people can't even comprehend and can see backwards through time.
It's the
Mysterious color, unlike any seen on Earth.
it's like the Atlas, you know, from earlier in the campaign, but suddenly I
Yeah.
can always see that.
God.
Ugh.
But it's just
It's
specifically
weird 'cause the
about
color
this
that he
room.
can-
Yes.
the color that he can magically see now that nobody else can see. It's just chartreuse. No one else. Yeah. Just like, yeah, huh, okay. Not as cool as I thought. Dang.
All right. Right. So I'm gonna roll. See how we
Please
do.
do.
Okay.
You had 2 people helping you, so the number of ones that have to come up to trigger a spectacular setback is 5.
Oh, okay.
So,
I got 2, so that's okay.
yeah, you're fine.
Woo.
Yeah.
Be good.
So actually, one of those is my Aether, so I get. But I only got the, and I needed a 10 to succeed. I got 16, but I think I'm going to spend an experience point and re-roll a couple of my ones here.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've clarified this, but something I would like to just lay down for realsies
Yeah.
is that the spectacular setback can trigger whenever you have that many ones showing, regardless of when you choose to re-roll. Like
Oh, okay.
the success or failure isn't set until you've finished re-rolling or whatever, but a setback can trigger if you have that many ones showing at a time.
Gotcha. Okay, so we've got 23.
23. Excellent. I mean, just 2 more and you'd be an incredible.
True. No.
All right. First things first, Yeah, this place hasn't been occupied in a while. There's a fine layer of dust on everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious. And that dust makes it pretty clear that no one's actually been here in a while, not only because of the dust that's on things, but also, like, there's a layer of dust on the floor that would let you know that tracks coming in and out of this place.
Yeah.
And there are none of those. 23 would let you realize that the bed here is rumpled enough and, like, not made perfectly, so it looks like somebody has been here in the past, but not in a long time. The container of completely evaporated water that is in the, like, refrigerator in the kitchenette would let you know that as well. Opening the fridge is a bad idea, and you are struck by the smell of it as soon as it, like, cracks open. You're like, nope, close that again. Whatever food was being kept here has long since gone to rot. And, like, some of it's dissolved so, long ago that there's nothing left of it.
It's not a sentient, is it, Mike?
No.
It's not a Cowboy Bebop scenario.
Is there a lot? Or is it like... Okay.
No, there was, like, maybe a couple of things of takeout left in there that just have, like, long since gone to rot. So it's
not like someone was snatched in the night. It's more like somebody forgot to clean out their fridge. Cool.
Right. And there's a lot of, like, little vignettes of setting here that let you know that it was probably always pretty sparse in here to begin with, and whoever left here did so not really thinking about what they left behind, because it wasn't important enough to really track on their, like, personal to-do list. There are a few scant pieces of, like, dry, non-perishable food in a small cupboard that you could find, mostly Noku-ish ramen, which is, like, freezer-dried and, like, packed in little cups that you just have to add hot water to. There is a kettle that has long since, like, dried up, and there is, like, a little box of prepackaged tea sachets, mostly stuff with high caffeine content. With a 23, yeah, the computer is definitely on the desk is the thing that draws your eye the most. The fact that it's still on is something that strikes you, but it is in, like, low power mode. Aethertech doesn't break down the same way computers that we know would, with, like, cooling systems that you'd have to worry about, and like fans and, like, overheating that you'd have to care about that would eventually, like, break down. So long as the chems inside the device remain intact, it can basically stay on indefinitely without too much damage being dealt, unless the technology is incredibly complex, which most computers aren't.
I mean, if we turn it on, make sure we cover the webcam.
Put a post-it note in front of. Yeah.
The thing you would notice more specifically is a piece of paper on the desk that is kind of wedged behind the holographic display, like the actual device of the display itself, which isn't on currently.
Oh, hello. What do we have here? And I grab it.
When you pick it up, you see that it is a folded piece of, like, actual paper, which is odd.
Ugh.
And it has the name Cassandra written in, like, a tight hand on the front of the paper before you open it.
Okay. Does it have anything inside?
Phone number.
Opening up, it just says, "Watch my final message first."
Oh. Well, this is going to make looking for this computer a whole lot more depressing.
That's
Right? All right, let's do this thing.
So is Oswald taking point on getting into this dude's personal computer?
Well, maybe Shay or Amari, if you wanted to, like, I don't know, shoot it or something.
I think he could probably turn a computer on.
Yes, with his blaster, I think.
I'm not even gonna dignify.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
with anything. Should be a shame if we just somehow locked Oswald in that fridge there for a little bit.
oh god.
I've been locked in worse.
Oh, you can't say stuff like
You are
that.
the
That makes it
saddest.
sad.
Yeah.
What? No, it's the time. We don't have time to get into the timeout corner.
We really don't.
Oh, buddy.
Honestly,
Oh,
I had it
man.
the best because I'm so small. I was able to have lots of room in there. Couldn't say the same about the other ones.
Got put in the fucking chokey. Like what?
Anyways, why are we talking about this?
We ain't,
Shay,
we
would you
ain't.
mind taking over this computer?
Yeah, if there's a password, I will hack into this. Although, yeah, is there a password?
There isn't, and that
Okay.
actually strikes you as odd right off the bat.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say like, oh, if there's a password,
Sandra.
I'm gonna type in Chimera, see if that works, but there's no password, so
No, as soon as you like sit down at this desk and place your hands in like a position where the holographic controls would be, it immediately starts up and it seems to activate from its sleep mode as though it's just like waiting for someone to sit down, and it's like when you wiggle the mouse basically of a
Yeah.
computer that's asleep and it just boots up. And the holographic display opens up really quickly, and you can see that this data terminal has a MetaNet connection. It definitely does, and something is updating on it. Like it is currently downloading something.
interesting.
It's got that Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
New season
Yeah,
pass or whatever.
The heads-up display on the desktop of this thing essentially has like a folder that is labeled project details and like a file that's just on the desktop that says watch me first.
I gotta do what the file folders tell me to do.
Should we? There's no way that opening up the folder will wipe all of the information and,
I mean,
make this breadcrumb.
I don't know why
Well,
he,
Yeah, like
he
right
would
click
leave,
properties.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'd
Yeah, right. Yes.
leave a note for a specific person just to be like, fuck you, and then it wipes the whole system. That seems weird.
Question. When we learned about him he has a family, right?
You're pretty sure he has family, but the details are pretty sketchy.
Okay, I was gonna be like, does like the name
Is
mean
Cassandra
anything
like a
to-
known associate or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the information you were able to
Gotcha,
find.
okay.
Though, like, the information you're able to find, basically all that really says is like he has family that is in the city. None of his like social media accounts had any like clear interactions with family members. There's no like Instagram posts of him with a loving family or anything. But like there are other people named Loricus in the city, and it can be assumed that they are probably related to him. It's a fairly uncommon name.
All right, let's watch this video
You
file.
boot up that file. Yeah, it is absolutely a video. It is a holographic recording, so as soon as you open it up, the holo display reorganizes itself and begins displaying an image that is like a midway shot from like the navel up of a harried looking Midrian man with like a mop of curly hair on his head that has like a little bit of graying at the temples. He's got like dark tan Mediterranean features with kind of like a long nose. He is constantly like blinking and squinting a little bit, like he needs some kind of corrective implement for his eyes, whether that be glasses or some kind of like etheric surgery that he just has never gotten around to. He has a long, like drawn expression, like he hasn't gotten enough sleep or food or some combination of the two. He definitely has like sallow features with like sharp cheekbones. And when he talks, he does so in a voice that is clearly like there is a exhaustion in his voice that speaks to either the amount of work he's been having to do or what he's speaking about. And once you hear what he has to say, the kind of way he says it makes more sense. And it is a fairly short message, but it is just him talking directly at whatever device was recording him at the time. And he is staring directly at you, Shay, who would be the person sitting at this computer.
Mm-hmm.
And what he says is, Cass, if you're seeing this, then they probably already told you that I'm dead. You probably don't believe anything they told you about it either. You're probably also thinking, I told you so, even if you'll never admit it. I'm sorry, Cassandra. You were right. The offer was too good to be true. But what we've done here is nothing short of a miracle. But if I'm dead, it means that the project is complete and that somebody decided to tie up all the loose ends. I hoped, Primus, you'll never have to see this, but I have to make sure somebody knows. Someone who won't use her the way I think they will. Attached, you'll find detailed records of my work up to a point. The dead drop system I've worked up from here will only update so often, so I don't know when it will cut off. The last updates might be tied up in a waygate, so you might want to give it a turn or two after you read what's here before you do anything dramatic like you do. Once you've read everything and watched some of the logs, I'm praying you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm leaving this to you, sister, nobody else. I know you're not in any of their pockets. I also know that if you didn't get the truth, you would just go digging. So I'm asking you, don't. Please don't. If Project Chimera is truly complete and I'm out of the picture, it means all of my other ideas have failed. And now they can get to you anywhere. They can get to anyone, anywhere. Your best bet is to take all of this data to Primus, I don't know, House Khanus, I guess, the Empress, maybe the Duke, if you can get to him. You know people near him, right? I know that sounds crazy, but I'm not sure who to trust anymore. Definitely no one in either of the Senates. Not that you would do that. You know they're too easily bought, but people have to know what's been done, what I've done. People who can do something about it, I hope. Like I said, I hope you never see this. I guess I'm mostly just talking to myself at this point, because it would mean that I'm dumping all of this in your lap, and that I won't be there to help. But I trust you, Cass. I trust you to do the right thing. And there's a long beat where he just kind of stares into the middle distance, almost through you, Shay. I don't really have much else to say, I guess. You'll understand once you read everything, I hope. I love you, sister. Give Paulo my best. I really hope you never have to see this. And then he futzes with the recording device and the recording ends.
So we're just going to download all of this information onto a chem and take that? Is that what we're doing?
Yup.
Okie dokie.
And then we're going to see if we can track down this Cassandra person.
Yeah.
Floria,
Is that
something the matter?
I just either she saw it and whatever plan she had didn't work, or she hasn't seen it and she's not involved and doesn't know that her brother is dead. I don't know if she's the lead.
Questione.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we were in the Typhon, I did a thing where I like connected my etheric senses to some kind of thing that was physically in the room, quote unquote, that we were in the metanet, and I saw somebody in the laboratory. Does that look like this person? Okay.
100%,
Okay.
yes.
I will relay that information.
Well, yeah, okay, all right, okay, maybe like not dead.
Well,
but...
I'm only making sure that we make that connection because I know that out of character we know that Hector Loricus is alive, but I don't think that we knew that in character. So, just bridging that gap. Mostly.
I mean, also, I don't think any. Did we see that person when you were connecting to the etheric senses?
No, that was
like,
just
at all?
me.
So now we at least have, the rest of us have a visual representation of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good.
Because I don't know if there was ever a picture when we were like doing our cursory searches.
I mean, yeah, you would have found some photos of him online in like social media posts and stuff, but like they were definitely of him younger than what you're seeing now. Like college aged and younger.
Right.
And you would know that he got recruited by Aegis Tech about 10 years ago.
Well, let's get this information and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this like the size of these files? Is this something that could be like upload or I guess just exported to a chem, or we could just take the whole thing with us?
The Spider-Verse thing. Just good news. We don't need
good
the
news
monitor.
is you don't need that.
The files are in the computer.
It's so simple.
Both are valid. There is a lot of data. You would need like a specially manufactured data chem. Like this isn't like a flash drive sized thing.
Yeah.
We do have a large one, right? When we first downloaded all of the information on Project Chimera, it was on a chem, a massive chem.
This is true. Would you have that one both with you and now empty?
That's a great question.
Or are you willing to spend the XP to say that that is true?
Hey, here,
I would be willing
yoink.
to. Yeah, I'd be willing to, honestly.
Yeah. I mean...
Or you could just take the whole computer with you.
Or just take the whole computer, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, you can confirm that at least a few months ago, Hector Loricus was still alive.
Yeah.
So this may be a message that, like, hasn't been triggered yet.
Yeah.
So, theoretically, Cassandra doesn't know any of this yet.
No.
So, theoretically, we're doing him a favor by taking
I mean...
Just taking it off her hands.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean...
She won't get involved if she doesn't know about it, so, you know.
The way he talks about her, it sounds like she would want to be involved. So I'm not, I would at least like to know if, like, see if she's alive and, like, what kind of stuff she's up to see if this would be kind of up her alley, this whole thing we're doing.
We should definitely look into where she is and who she is, but whether or not we make contact, I think is questionable.
Again, we have, like, not a ton of allies, so...
I mean, it doesn't sound like she's too big of a fan of Aegis Tech in the first place, right?
It's true. It's just...
And she seems to have connections, if Hector can be believed.
Right.
Yeah.
Shay, how goes the... Well, actually, we're taking the whole computer, is that correct?
Yeah, let's just take the whole thing with us.
All right.
I guess, yeah, so you're not even taking any time to actually, like, go through the data. You're just like, oh, yoink.
Time is of the essence. We'll do it later.
It'll be more narratively interesting to do on the ship.
Okay. Bring the whole kit and caboodle with you is easy enough. It's definitely, I wouldn't say portable necessarily, but carryable, absolutely.
That's
easily carryable by our
I was gonna say, I was like, that's the whole reason I'm brought along on these things. Carry stuff.
Just don't suck the aether out. I don't know if that would affect it in any way. And don't stab it with your knife. Barring those two things, I think we'll be okay.
I'm not the one who
Is that on the table?
Yeah, I don't do that.
On your way out of this building, as you do one last... Oh, Blissman, you had something?
Nope. Just being inconspicuous. And of course you immediately notice that, but
Got it.
just close the door, lock it again.
On your way out the door, I got to imagine one of you does a quick metanet search on the name Cassandra Loricus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're securing transport out of here and back to the Tiresian, I'm assuming,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
you come up with a quick search for that name, and it becomes very clear very quickly who this person is, because her name is on the byline of quite a few articles for a publication called the Varmstead Oracle. And exactly where that lead will take you, I think we'll have to wait until next time. Because as always, you can find us online at MatcomRPG on Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us at materialcomponentsrpg@gmail.com. We always love hearing from all of our listeners.
You can find me on Twitter at CryOutOlivia. I am always there talking about D&D and other RPGs and also just a lot of other nerd stuff. So come hang out.
You can find me on Twitter at Elliot C. Lewis. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, doing a lot of tabletop RPG and other fan art. You can also support me on Patreon and Ko-fi. Links to both of those are in my Twitter profile.
You can find me at The Readamus on Instagram and Twitter, where I post jokes and lots of photos of nature, so come check it out.
And you cannot find me on social media, but what you can do is support our show by rating and reviewing it on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Please, please, please do so.
Indeed, and finally, you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at MKGorgoni, where I'm always happy to talk about all things material components. But as always, the world is chaos, so please, be kind to each other. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.